Could they ever make a sequel to the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake? Let's talk about it.
What's your favorite scary movie? Name it.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Well, I'm Pennywise the dancing now.
We're gonna get you. Oh, Lord on the beat!
God, don't do that.
But sometimes dead is better.
Hey everybody, what's up? KillJoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today we're talking about if a sequel to the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake movie will ever happen. Now before I get into that, I'm gonna need y'all to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. It would make me very happy as a human being, and I would greatly appreciate it. Now, getting into this, I have a few reasons for why I think a sequel specifically will never happen. Obviously, we already got a prequel to this film called Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. It's a really interesting film, and I like it a lot. Although it feels like a prequel, which prequels have problems with the ending, especially in my opinion. You already know what's going to happen because you had seen the last film. So, and typically prequels lead into the next movie, so it's kind of like the ending isn't as suspenseful as an original movie. So prequels, in my mind, always have had that problem, but there are some things in Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning that happen that are pretty damn shocking. For example, literally all your main characters are dead at the end of the film. It's crazy. It's like, what? I mean, I know that almost happens in like a lot of films, but this is the first one where it's like, what if Sally Hardesty didn't get away at the end of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre? We get that kind of answered with Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, which is why, honestly, it's one of my favorite Chainsaw movies. But why I think a sequel specifically never happened with this series, with this remake series in particular, is there's a lot of things that happen in the third act of specifically the 2003 movie that would prevent a sequel from ever happening. And there have been some unfortunate real life things that have happened that would probably make it impossible for the sequel to happen anyways. So first and foremost, let's talk about some plot stuff. Leatherface is our main antagonist from this movie. Obviously, we have the Hewitt family, formerly the Sawyer family in the original series. I don't know why they're renamed. It's just kind of a random thing they decided to change. Honestly, I think Sawyer sounds a little scarier to me, so I kind of like that. I prefer that name over Hewitt. But something we have to talk about specifically with Leatherface is that at the end of the 2003 film, actually specifically more in the scene where he's chasing Jessica Biel through the meat plant, he gets his arm cut off. And I don't know if you guys have ever held a chainsaw before, but they're pretty damn heavy. And even for Leatherface, it would be difficult to control with one hand, and it would be kind of a weird movie. You could just have him use the club hammer thing that he uses sometimes, but then it's not really a chainsaw massacre, is it? Then it's kind of just the Texas club hammer massacre, and that doesn't exactly roll off the tongue as good as chainsaw. That's just a better word to put in your title, I think. So that would be really difficult to have a Leatherface with one arm. Something I came up with a solution for this, though. If we were to do a sequel, theoretically, you could have Leatherface go Ash from Evil Dead 2 style and attach it to his stump. Now, it would get kind of silly, and I feel like that doesn't really fit the tone of these movies, so I don't think they'll ever actually do that if they were to theoretically make a sequel to the 2003 remake movie. But it's an idea, so I'm gonna throw it out there anyways. I don't think that'll ever happen. Like I said, I've talked about these movies a bit before in the past. They're much darker films, not necessarily for the good, in my opinion, compared to the original film, the 1974 movie. And it has like this, it's not even dark humor, it's just very mean. It's a very mean movie, where the 1974 movie is much more dark humor. And that's my one diss about the 2003 movie, that I just feel like it's a little lesser than the original for me because of that. The tone isn't quite there. And what I'm talking about, like it being mean, is mostly centered around R. Lee Ermey's character. Now, the guy gives a phenomenal performance, but it's the script that I mostly have a problem with. He makes one of the characters put a gun in his mouth to kind of like simulate what happened to the girl from earlier, and the whole scene comes off as just brutally mean, like over the top mean, and it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be like that mean and shitty to your characters. You give them no hope in the second act. You give these characters, who do ultimately end up dying, no hope at all. And it sucks. And it's like, if you don't have hope that these characters are going to survive, you don't really care when they die. So a lot of their deaths are not as effective to me as the deaths are in the 1974 movie. So that's my one big problem with the 2003 movie. Besides that, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's probably one of the better remakes out there. And Arlie Ermy gives a phenomenal performance in this movie. But unfortunately, that takes us to our next point here. The guy has since passed away. Now, a very sad thing that has happened in real life. The guy was phenomenal in all the movies he was in, essentially playing the same character, but doing it so well. I mean, oh my God, no one is more intimidating. No one was more intimidating than this man. And it's a really unfortunate thing, but you wouldn't be able to bring him back for a new sequel movie at this point, which is a big, big, big negative. You couldn't replace him at all. I mean, yes, his character does die in the end of the 2003 movie, but like, what are these remake movies without him? I mean, his performance in that just brings such an interesting element to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. That is something, in my opinion, that the 2003 actually beats out the original for. And I think that's why a lot of people think that this is their favorite from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. It's a totally valid opinion in my opinion, because of how well Arlie Ermy kills it in this movie. I mean, he's phenomenal. It's not just Leatherface giving a great performance as the antagonist. We also have this sheriff character that we learn a lot more about in the beginning, which is really interesting. But without him, I just don't know if I'd want a sequel, man. That's a big, big negative in my opinion. And he just brings something to that movie that the other films that just don't have. So I really, that would be a big missing piece, a big hole in this puzzle that I just don't feel like could be filled by anyone else. Another thing that you could go with the plot, though, just talking about where the plot line of the second film would go. You could follow Jessica Biel's character again. Like, let's say they got Jessica Biel to come back. I'm sure that's possible. I'm sure if they decided to, if Texas Chainsaw as a franchise was making a bunch of money, I'm sure Jessica Biel would be like, hell yeah, I'll come back. Sure. Why not? She does save this baby from the Hewitt family at the end of the film. So we could see an older version of this baby. Like, obviously it's been 20 years since the 2003 movie. So this kid would be like 20 something. That would be cool. I mean, I would be down to check that out if that was kind of the case and like the Hewitt family was going after the baby to reclaim it. That would be kind of scary, or maybe to even eat it. I feel like that would be an interesting plot line. I just don't know why Jessica Biel would be out in the middle of this Texas town again if all of those events happened to her in the past. Could we see these characters going to where they came from? That would be interesting. I would find that fun. Change the setting of the sequel. Like, why not? I feel like you could do a lot of really interesting things with that. Location can make or break a film, in my opinion. When you have a really good location, it adds a whole new sense of character to certain films. So to have a different location for a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie would be interesting, but it's kind of in the title, right? Texas. What do you guys think about a possible sequel to the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie? Would you like that, or does it make a whole lot of sense to you to why they made a prequel in 2006 opposed to a continuation? Leave me something about it in the comments below. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you guys so much, by the way, for watching this video. I want to point this out. I made this video because I had an overwhelming amount of comments saying they wanted another movie to continue the timeline from the remake series. So that's why I'm doing this video. I do read the comments. I do want to make videos based off of what you guys want to see. So please leave me something down below in the comments of more videos you want to see. I am always open for crazy ideas of things to talk about. So if you guys could do that, that would be awesome. Thank you guys so much for liking this video and subscribing, by the way. That means a lot to me. And also, if you could support me on Patreon, the link for that will be in the description below. You literally get an extra video every single month for just $1. I mean, that's crazy. Just $1 a month and you get an extra video. And then if you support me at the higher tiers, you get even more stuff. You get merch, you get more videos, you get early access to crazy videos like my podcasts, my locations videos, which I'm doing another one real soon. Very excited for that to come out. But yeah, support me on there if you can. The link for that will be in the description below. Thank you all again for watching. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.